Hello all, this is Kirtana, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce. Today I am here to present a lecture series on the subject Statistics for Social Research on the topic F test. So first we can see what is F test. So F test in the sense it is a statistical test that compares variances. It is used to determine if the variance of two sample or if the ratio of variance among multiple samples are significantly different. The test calculates a statistic represented by random variable f and it checks if it follows a f distribution. So this check is valid if the null hypothesis is true and standard assumptions about the errors in the data hold or in the data set. So F test in the sense it is an test that compare the variances. It helps to determine the variance between two samples or the ratios of variance among multiple samples. So the test is represented by random variable f or else f distribution. So in the data set, if it present a null hypothesis, the data set will be holded. So F tests are frequently used to compare different statistical methods and find the one that best describes the population the data came from. So when models are created using the least square method, the resulting F test are often called as exact F test. So the F statistic was developed by Ronald Fisher in the year of 1920 as the variance ratio and was later named in his honor by George W. Snickoder. So in this, if here F test is frequently used method, it is a statistical model. So it is also helped to describe the population of the data came from. So when models are created using the least square method, it also result in exact F test. So the F test was initially developed by Ronald Fisher. Later it was honored by George W. Snedeker. So hope the F test was clearly understood. Next we can see what is uh, next we can see what are the characteristics of F test. So before that, so what are the characteristics we can see? Like any statistical method, the F distribution has its limitations and assumptions. One important presumption is that the information must be normally distributed. In case the information is normally distributed, we may need to utilize a diverse dispersion or change the information before utilizing the F distribution. Another presumption is that the fluctuations of the population being compared are equal. In the event that fluctuations are not equal, we may got to utilize a altered adaptation of the F test called Welch test. So F test, its characteristics it will be developed as F test compares with variance, also determine the variance of two samples, or if the ratios of variance among multiple samples are significantly different. So the test calculates a statistic represented by the random variable f and it checks with an f distribution. Also, the F test is employed to assess the equality of variance between two populations. It is also referred as variance ratio test as it determines the ratio of variance. In the F test, F value is compared to the F critical value. So in it is a statistical method which there will be in limitations also and assumptions. So the first thing is that variables will be normally distributed. If the variables are not distributed normally before utilizing the F distribution, there can be a diverse dispersion or change the information. If another presumption that can be fluctuations of population can be compared equally. If it is not equal, we may can utilize an altered adaptation which is called as Welch test. So next is what is ANOVA? So ANOVA we have already familiar with that, which is analysis of variance. So analysis of variance in the sense It is a statistical technique used to compare the means of two or more groups. It calculates the F statistics and p value for each feature to estimate the ratio of group variability to within group variability, which is between the group and within the group. Determine the likelihood of achieving a result as extreme as the observed result if there is no significant difference between the groups. ANOVA assumes a clear relationship between features and class labels as well as normally distributed groups with equal variance. It is most useful when the number of features is significantly greater than the number of samples. So we all know that analysis of variance. So how does ANOVA work? So here we have a question. How does ANOVA work? ANOVA works by analyzing the level of variance within more than two groups through samples taken from each of them. In an ANOVA test, you should first examine the variance within each group defined by independent variable. This variance is calculated using the values of the dependent variable within each of these group. Then you compare the variance within each group to overall variance of the group means, which is ANOVA test is first we have to variance the each group defined by independent variable, that is the first step. Second, we have to calculate the variance using dependent variable of these groups. So we have both in group, we have both the independent and dependent variable. So first we have to split up each one, then you have to compare the variance with each group to the overall variance of the group means. That is, now you have to variant within each group, not an variable. So first we have to split the group into independent variable and dependent variable. By second part, we have to variant with compare the variance with each group to overall variance. So, in general terms, a large difference in means combined with small variance within the group signifies a greater difference between the groups. Here, independent variable significantly varies by dependent variable and the null hypothesis rejected. On the flip side, which is on another side, a small difference in means combined with large variance in the data suggests less variance between the groups. In this case, independent variable does not significantly vary the dependent variable and the null hypothesis accepted. So we have worked on the problems, right, which is a null hypothesis. We have to find the hypothesis. 1.96 is the significance level or 5% is the significance level. If it across that, the hypothesis rejected. If it is the correct value, hypothesis true. So the same concept in a theoretical general terms, dependent variable and the null hypothesis rejected. On the another side only, small difference in means combined with large variance in the data suggest less variance between the groups. So independent variable does not significantly vary the dependent variable when the null hypothesis accepted. So types of ANOVA. So we have seen what is ANOVA. Now we have two types of ANOVA. One is one-way ANOVA and another one is two-way ANOVA. So one-way ANOVA in this meaning, one-way ANOVA is a hypothesis test used to test the equality of three or more population means simultaneously using variance. In two-way ANOVA, it is a statistical technique when interaction between factors influencing variable can be studied. In independent variable, one-way ANOVA can be used with only one set of data. Two-way ANOVA can be used with two data sets. It compares the three or more level of one variable in one-way ANOVA, and effect of multiple level of two variable can be used in two-way ANOVA. So number of observation will lead to need not to be same in each group. So in one-way ANOVA need not to be same in each group, but in two-way ANOVA need to be equal in each group. So the difference was clearly understood. First is ANOVA and characteristics of F test. Also, we have types of ANOVA. Hope the session was useful. Thank you.